Hello, my friends. This is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks, and we are going to make this set. So in this video, we are making two projects in one. So what a beautiful little set this is for any child. They will absolutely love it. I used the Mainstay yarn. It's an acrylic yarn that I got from Walmart. There is no color on it for some strange reason, but look how absolutely gorgeous it is. We are going to make this scarf and we're going to make the beanie. So you're going to need your 22 needle machine and your 46 needle machine. You're also going to need a Clover pom-pom maker, and I show you the size that I use in the video. We're going to have fun and make this beautiful, beautiful set. All right, so we're going to begin. We're going to bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn feeder. We're going to take the end of our yarn. We're going to cast on behind that first black, in front, behind, in front, behind, in front, all the way around. And when you get halfway around or 3/4 way around, change your row counter to 0, okay? And continue so that it's ready to go when you get to the beginning. I like to count the rows that I'm working on, not the rows that I'm finished. So this way it's going to click on number 1, and then I know I'm working on number 1, okay? Let's get that over those little red teeth. All right, so now our counter set to 0. We've cast it on. We're going to just knit. The beauty with this color changing yarn is that it makes its own pattern. So I love that. We are going to add to the ends, as you see, but we're going to just keep knitting until we get 240 rows, okay? Now I'm using mild tension, like medium tension on my yarn, so I've got it between my finger and my thumb like this, and I'm just giving it just a very light tension. I do have the tensioners, and I might opt to switch to that in time. I'm just going to get my ball going here and get the end a little bit looser before I do that. Then I might add my tensioner and I'll put it on the middle tension. Okay, but I'm just going to keep going like this until I get my desired amount of rows. If you do not have a hole in your table, then come back and see me once it starts to touch the table. Like, I'm going to just let mine go through the hole here. My husband put a hole in the table here. This is actually a table he made when he was in junior high. So we are going to just keep going, but once it touches the table, I will show you what you do if you don't have a hole in your table. So keep going, and I'll see you back at around 55 rows. If your piece is touching the table and you don't have a hole for it to go through, then just put your hand in there, pick it up, and pop it into the center like that. And you keep doing that over and over again until, as it gets touching the table, you just redo it. And what that does is it keeps, if this keeps hitting the table, then it will pull up on your work like this and loosen it. And then one of these little loops can fall off these little red teeth. And if that happens, then your row will start to drop and unravel, okay? So that's why you want to, if you don't have a hole in your table, pick it up, pop it into the center, and it will stay. Okay, so keep going, 240 rows. We've got that done, so now we're going to put our last white and our first black in line with the yarn feeder. We're going to take out our yarn tensioner, put that away, cut off about 1 foot for a tail, open our yarn guide, put that into the center, and you're going to grab your needle that you want to remove your stitches with. I'm just going to use the one that came with the machine. Rotate your handle to finish knitting that last stitch. Pick up that first black one. And the next. And we're going to go around and cast off just like this, picking up all of our stitches, okay? If you have not done this a lot, I would advise that you put your finger over the one beside the one you're taking off, just so that when you're pulling up on this one to take it off the little red teeth here, that this one doesn't pull up. Because if that pulls up and loosens, then you're going to drop a row of stitches, okay? It's going to start unraveling. So until you get your tension right, put your finger over as you pick up, okay? Pick up, and that will prevent a heartache later. Not one that can't be fixed. Because it can quite easily. Actually, you can find how to fix a drop stitch on my videos. Just scroll down through them, and if that happens to you, don't panic. Okay, we've got it off. Pull that out of that little hole there. There we go. My camera's too close up of a view here, but I'm going to change that in a second. So go ahead and set this beautiful piece aside. You can stretch it out widthwise and lengthwise before you do so, all the way down. Set it aside, and then we'll begin the next part of the project, and we'll get back to this one in a bit, okay? For the next part of this video, I've chosen this bright orange because it matches the color scheme of the scarf very well. We're going to line up our last white, our first black needle in front of our yarn feeder. We're going to cast on. Front, back, all the way around. Okay, in front of that last white, into the yarn feeder, change your row counter to 0. Okay, and from here, we're gonna just knit 20 rows. This is Craft Smart yarn, and it doesn't work well in my 46 needle machine, but it manages in the 22 needle for whatever reason. It just doesn't make sense to me, but we're going to do 20 rows, and when I get that done, I'll see you back. Might have spoke too soon. I just got to go a little slower. Okay, see you back at 20 rows. Okay, yes, I did speak too soon. I have to help it out here because it's not liking it, but it's only 20 rows, so all I'm doing is pulling this down a little bit as it passes by the yarn feeder, and that helps to put those little loops over the red teeth and prevent a tuck stitch. Okay, so I can manage that for 20 rows. That's not a big deal. Okay, making sure that the yarn end is loose at the back. Okay, so I'm almost done. See you at 20. 20 rows successfully completed. Open that yarn feeder, put your yarn end between, I cut it off about a foot, between that last white and the first black, and we will cast off. Okay. Just one needle at a time till you get some slack on the back here, then you can turn it farther. I'll do about 5 and then I'll show you. That's 4, 5. Now I've got some slack on the back here. I can go further and start removing, holding them on the needle with my thumb, but taking more off at once, okay? Just like that. Go until you get them all off, and I'll see you back. Now that we have that off the machine, we're going to stretch it in both directions, and then we are going to set it aside and move on to the next part. The next part will be the ears, so we're going to line up our last white, first black in front of the yarn feeder there. We're going to cast on behind and in front, just like what we did with the scarf. Okay, and we are going to knit 6 rows. So that's 1. Oh, put some slack on my ball. 2, and I'm going to go slowly because, again, this yarn. And 3. If you find the right speed and the right tension, it works with you. 4, but I'm still watching as every needle passes by that yarn feeder to make sure that that loop is going over the red teeth. Okay, and so far so good. I think this is 5. And 1 more. It feels tight. Yeah, see, that one's gonna tuck. See how you probably can't see it, but if I remove this, for those of you who are new, this loop over this white needle is staying up there. It's not going to go down over the 2 teeth, and so then it's going to tuck it. It'll pick up this bar here, and you'll have a tucked stitch. 2 of the bars will work into the next stitch. So now I just took my loom pick and I put that bar, helped it down over those red teeth, and then I'm going to continue on my merry way around. Only 6 rows, so it's easy to do. This one's going to tuck too, so I'm going to fix that one. Okay, so I'm at the end. I think that's 6 rows. If not, then I'm going to be redoing this off camera. You're going to cut your yarn end, and we're going to open our latch, put it between the last white, the first black, and we're going to cast off, okay? So same thing we did with our scarf. We're going to put our needle, our yarn end on our needle. We're going to turn the handle and remove every stitch from our machine. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Then you're going to make 1 more of these, and when you have 2 of your ears done, you're going to set them aside and you're going to grab your scarf. Okay, so go ahead, finish 2 of these. We've finished our main face, and we're going to grab our scarf and move ahead. What you're going to do is you're going to just, I'm assuming that you already stretched it out widthwise and lengthwise all the way down. That lines up your rose and softens it up. We're going to just close our ends. Simple, simple, simple procedure, okay? Go around and pick up that first row of stitches, just like that, and pull. Continue. And pull. I'm not one who goes to the bright colors like this very easily. As if you look on my, and when you look on my channel and you see all the videos I've done, you'll realize that. But when I saw this, I thought, get out of your box, Shelley, and try something different. And so I'm quite liking it already. So, but you know what? Some little child is going to love this. So I just knotted it once. I'm going to knot it twice. But you know, there's many of you adults out there who are going to love this yarn too. And you're going to make yourself a drop stitch scarf, or you're going to make yourself a wider one. And you know what? I might be right there with you because I absolutely love this. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to put my hand up into that scarf tube. I already took my rings off because they tend to snag things that I'm making. Do you find that when you're wearing your rings that you often forget they're on your hand and then you snag your project? So sometimes I just take them off. So I'm going to poke that in there, pull it through, let it go, take my needle out, just like that. Okay, and I've hid that end. We're going to go ahead and we're going to close this other side the exact same way. And you don't have to put your hand in there and, and pull it through. We're going to go ahead and close this end up. Not sure why I put my hand in there actually to pull it through. Sometimes I do weird things. Sometimes you know, I'm talking to you, you're on my mind, and then I mean, it worked, obviously. But I'll show you what I'm going to do with this one. Much easier. So we've got around, we've reinforced that. We're going to tie it off. Just like so, tighten that knot with your thumb. Gonna make another knot. Just like that. Then we're going to go through that loop. It's just easier when you put your hand in there, I guess, but we're gonna go through that loop, or through that tip at the end. Pull our yarn through like that. Pull that knot into the inside, then cut this off. That's all you would have had to do for the other side too, okay? So either way works. So we've got this beautiful, beautiful little scarf. Oh, how sweet. Okay, but now we're going to pick the side that we want to embellish. Now, if I look at this, the color schemes are pretty much the same, so it doesn't matter. But I've got a row here that's a little bit looser, so I'm going to choose this side, and then I can cover that up, okay? Grab your bigger circle that you made, okay, and we're going to go ahead. And we're going to close this end just like we did the other, the two ends on the scarf. Okay, so you're going to thread your needle. You're going to go around, reinforce it, and then I'll see you back. Once that's done, and this could be the reason why I put my needle in there to begin with on that on the scarf, because I'm just so used to doing it. You're going to put your needle into that center. You're going to pull that end out to the other end, just like this. So just pull it in and roll this up like that so that you see it coming out this end. And I'm going to take that other one. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to leave it in a tube like that. We're going to be flattening it, making it flat. But it just helps, when you put it inside, it's easier to get it to come up to the edge of this other piece. And then we get a nice tight finish. So we're going to go ahead. Thread our needle. We're going to reinforce around this circle. And then we're going to tie this yarn end to this yarn end so that that inside one comes right up snug to this outside one here. And we're going to tie a knot, and then I'll see you back. I have reinforced around the center there. I cut this one off a little bit shorter so it's easier to work with. And I'm going to tie those two. Bringing the inside one up to the outside one, the two sides together, but not pulling so tight that you snap your yarn, because again, that's very easily done. I'm going to cut this one shorter, so it's shorter than this length, okay? And then we have our little piece that's ready to sew on as the face. Taking the ears now, we are going to pull it closed on the one side first, and then we're going to go ahead and reinforce it around. Okay, pulling that tight. I've already gone part way around, so I'm going to tie a knot. So I've gone around the whole circle there. I'm going to tie a knot. I'm going to go over to this other side. I'm going to do the same thing, okay? So smooth out that edging so it's nice and smooth and beautiful. And go ahead and reinforce around the outside of that one too. Tie a knot off and I'll see you back. Okay, so that's done. I've cut that little end off after I tie a knot, and I'm going to just smooth this out a little bit. Go back to the other side. Put that end on my needle. I'm going to poke that in anywhere in the side there and bring it out to the side. Okay? And without pulling it to gather it, I'm just going to tie a knot here just to secure it. Now I can pull on it and it's not going to gather it in there, okay? But what we want to do is we want to fold it over in half. It's hard to do because it's just a little tiny piece, but you're going to fold it over just like that. And you're going to just seam up about 1/2 inch so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going in both sides. Oops, where did that edge go? Okay. Up about, maybe that's 1/2 inch. Let me see here. I'll tell you exactly. 1/2 inch. Okay. Oh, we got to go farther. Okay, we're going to go about 1 inch. Okay. Until your piece, I'll show you after this stitch. Until when you open your piece, it looks like an ear. Okay. So it looks kind of like that. Okay. And then from there, we got to go a little farther. I'm going to go a little bit farther up, just like that. Tie a knot, just like so, and we've got what looks like a little ear. Okay, we've got this end part here, but we're gonna sew that in, so that's not a big deal. We're going to take this next piece. We're going to put that on there just like that. Okay, this is going to be underneath, so it really makes no difference. But I'm going to remeasure that for you just so you can see how far I went up. Okay, you could have made a smaller one, but this is 1 inch. But using less rows makes it really hard to work with, so you want to do the 6 rows. And then you're going to just put that down to the bottom there, just like that. You've got that beautifully formed ear. Going to pick a piece aside. You're going to line up that bottom part where it starts to curve onto any part of this circle. The next one will have to be more positional as to where it goes, but this one, you just got to pick a piece, okay? Then we're going to go into that first layer. And we're going to sew it on. Okay, nice and firm. You don't have to be fancy. This is all going to be hidden. I'm going to go up the side until I get to the top. But I'm not going through the front layer. I'm just going through this back layer. Okay? Because I don't want to see that on the other side. Okay, and I'm going all the way up to the top. Going to tie a knot. Then I'm going to trail this through to the other side and then go down. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tie it off here. I'm going to start at the top here, go around this top row here, just so it's nice and secure. Then all the way down, tie a knot off, and then we'll attach the second ear. I've got both ears sewn on, and I'll tell you, there's a distance between the two ears here is 1.5 inches. Okay, so there was 3 rows here, but it looks like it's just a row and 2.5 rows, but about 1.5 inches. Okay, so that's what you want to do for that. And then we're going to start sewing our face. Rather than going with black, because I don't want it to look Halloweenish, we're going to pull a color from here that you can easily see. That might work. It might not be dark enough. I'm going to unroll to a darker color, and we're going to see what we can do here. In the next clip, I'm going to show you how to do this face. But I wanted to insert this to just tell you that when I show you how to do it, I told you to start this line here just under the point. So the middle of this face is right there. And I had suggested that you start this line underneath that point and go down. Then my mouth came really low here. And you'll see that in the video as we do it. But I'm just telling you this beforehand because don't do that. It was too low. Okay, so what I did, this is the middle point right there. I went above it. And then this point is just below the middle. So, well, there's the middle right there. So this nose is halfway. The top half is above the middle there, and bottom half is below. That way, the mouth was a little bit higher, and then I also made it a little bit smaller. Okay, so facial features are hard to do, and when I was doing with you on camera, I thought it looked great, and it did, but then I looked at it later and I thought, it looks great, but it's not perfect. So anyways, take note of that. Do your facial features the exact same way that I'm showing you how to do it in the video, but move it up, okay? And I also made it just a wee bit smaller, and I made the mouth a little bit smaller as well, okay? So take note of that, and then you can follow the instructions in the next part of the video to complete this part, okay? All right, so I chose the maroon color here, and we are going to, actually I need a straight needle. That works a lot better for this kind of work, okay? So we're going to go down into a point here. So this is the middle. We're going to go down about to there, coming up from the back, pulling it through, leaving a bit of a tail at the back, okay? Then we're going to go up to the corner. There is our center. We're going to go over about 2 stitches, just like so. Pull it through. And then from the back, we're going to come over 2 stitches on this side. Okay, just like that. Go down into the point. Come back up into that first stitch that we did, that first area that we did. Pull it through. Now to turn it upside down, it's easier to work. Then I'm going to go back into that point, and then back into that corner, and then down to the bottom point, just like so. And from there, I'm going to start filling in. Now, I do not like to have this bar showing in my work. I think it looks funny, actually. So I always use that as my guide, but I go right above it. Come down into the back. Pull it through, straighten it with my thumb. Come up into the point. Go back down, go a little bit over top of that little bar, back through. And we're going to fill this in all the way to the other side, okay? Just like that. Coming back up. And sometimes you have to take your point a little bit lower to, once you get filling it in, it becomes a little square here, and then you have to just go a little bit lower, but you can eyeball that as you go, okay? I'm going to push that in, and the closer you get to that little notch, the harder it is to get it in, but you can do it, okay? So go ahead, fill in your nose all the way down, or pardon me, all the way across, just like that, until you have it just exactly the way you want it, and then I'll see you back. All right, so you see how beautiful that looks? Now, I am really stepping out of my box. I always use black. Like, I seriously always use black or taupe or color like that, but I love this, and it's going to match the scarf so beautifully. So I'm going to come back up into that point, and then I'm going to take this all the way down, okay? as far down, like straight down, but right down to as far as I can go, just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to go back up to that point. Come down. There we go. Now we're going to give this guy a little mouth. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 rows over and up a little bit. Okay. So just a little bit off to the side from, if this is your line, your point of reference, then just a little bit over. Okay. Back down into that point, and then I'm going to go over to this side, same amount of space. Just like that. And then I'm going to go over that. Okay. I want 2 strands. Yep, just like that. This one looks a tiny bit shorter, so I'm going to just make this second strand just a bit longer. Okay, go back down into the point. So now that I have that in the back, I'm going to find this other one that I had. We're going to tie it off into a knot, being sure that when you tie it, that you tie it snugly, but you don't tie it so tight that you compromise the look of the lines on the front, okay? So just like that, and then my third knot will be tighter. Okay, then you can cut this off because it's going to be hidden in the back. And there we go. We just got to work on the eyes now. If you're going to use yarn, then you would make your lines up and down, and you would take your yarn and just make a short line up and down until you have it the thickness you want, okay? I was going to do that, and then I changed my mind. I'm going to use safety eyes. I'm going to put them in there. Okay. I love it. These are 12mm safety eyes. I'm going to position them first to see what I think. I think that's great. And then I'm going to put them on. And then what I'm going to do is underneath, I'm going to put a bead of hot glue, okay? So I'm going to push that down really hard. I find that if I put this so that this concave part, like this bowl part, is up, I can get it down tighter. See, I can just push that, and I can't pull them up. They're snug. And it's short enough that we're gonna put a little bit of fiber fill in there. It's not gonna poke anybody. So that is perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna grab our scarf. We are going to partially sew it on, then we'll stuff it. It's much, much easier. So to do that, we're going to line it up where we want it. You can put it down low if you want it, but I want to show some of this color of the scarf. I'm going to put it up a little ways, okay? And then I'm going to, it's a little bit wider than the scarf, but that's okay because we're going to fill it. So I'm going to, well, I've got to trail this out to the side. That's the first thing I got to do. Just like that. And again, whenever you do that, you always want to tie a knot just so that you don't get any pulling. If I didn't tie a knot and I pulled on this, it would gather in here, and I just don't want that to be the case. So I'm going to put that on there. Line it up so my eyes are straight. That's where your point of reference will be, and your ears. Then we're going to go into the side, pick up a stitch, okay? I'm going to go in. Once I attached it, then I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick up 2 bars and pick up because I don't want to see the lines. Now, generally, my rule of thumb is that you have to have the wide part of the V going up to the top, but in this case, I'm going to just leave it like this. It's a small piece. It's not going to matter, okay? And we're going to sew that on. Pick up 2 bars or 1, whatever works. This time I'm going to pick up 1. Sew that on. Go back in. Okay. And we are going to make sure it's straight again. Another point of reference is to make sure this line goes straight down, okay? And then we're just gonna sew it on behind the ears like that. So you don't have to be fancy there because you're not gonna see this at all. Okay. And like so. I'm only going through one layer. You don't want to see your stitches on the other side of your scarf. Pick it up. Just like that. And then you're going to do the same. You're going to just pick up from the top here, pick up a stitch as close to the head as you can so you don't see it, okay? And you're going to sew that on. You're going to continue going around till you get to this side right there, and then you can stop, okay? It's coming together, friends. So now we're going to, now we've got just this piece that's open, so we're going to put some stuffing in there. I'm going to make sure that I get some under those eyes in particular, okay? Oh, kids' things are so much fun, aren't they? Okay. I think that's enough because we don't want, maybe that's a little too much. We don't want it so bulky that, yeah, well, needs a little more. There we go. So now I'm going to sew all around the other side to close it. And then I'll see you back. Gonna probably have to add more yarn because I don't think this is long enough, but I'm gonna see if I can make it work. Okay, there we go. I'll see you back when you're done. We are almost finished this scarf, but now we're just gonna add the pom-poms. Like, aren't those just, isn't that just beautiful? I added it on one side so you could see, but I used this Clover pom-pom maker. It's the third one. I have a set of 4. It's the green one. It's the third one. And you can, I don't want to take up time on this video to show you how to make this. I just will tell you that I wrapped each half 160 times. So this half 160, this half 160. And then I tie this off, okay? But I'm not going to take the time to show you this in the video because I have a video on my channel how to use the Clover pom-pom maker. So go ahead and look at that. Or if you don't have the Clover pom-pom maker, make your pom-pom the best way you know how. And then we're going to attach it. So I'm going to finish making this one, then I will attach it with you, okay? Pom-pom is made. I love making pom-poms on my Clover. And then I just trim them all up so they're beautiful and even. We're going to take the end, okay? And what I do is I go through that center piece right there with one, I have one strand on there, and then I come out just like that. And before I pull it in all the way, I take that other piece and I put it in the center and out the other side, just like that. And then I pull the two, I knot it really good and tight, just like that. And then I do it again, okay? So then I get right in there. I don't go into the center though, I just pick up a piece on the side there. Okay, with this one, and then I do the same with this one. Okay. Getting as close to that center as I can. Making sure that it doesn't tie down the little fibers. Okay, then you tie another double knot. Really tight. You can even tie 3. And then you just cut these off the length of the pom-pom fibers. Just like that, okay? And look at that. You guys, my goodness. Another inspiration from somebody on my Facebook group who was asking for children's scarves. And I thought, yep, that's another thing that's in my book of things to possibly make. And because I had this yarn and I really didn't know what I was going to do with it. I can't position this right so you can see it in the camera. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. That triggered my imagination and I thought, okay, I can handle that. Let's make this kid scarf. Absolutely adorable. So we are going to move ahead now and we are going to make the matching beanie. So grab your Addi 46 needle machine and the same yarn, and let's get started. My machine is all set up and ready to go. I've got my yarn end from, this is still my first ball, so we're going to see how far it takes us. I'm interested to see. I was going to do the brim in this color so that it matched the face of the bear on the scarf, but I'm deciding not to. If you want to put a different color brim, you're going to do 45 rows of this main color, then you're going to do 30 rows and then 45. But we're gonna go straight with this one, okay? So we're gonna bring our last white and our first black in line with our yarn feeder. And if you're new to my channel, take a black permanent marker and mark that divider that's between those two needles. You will not regret it because you will always know when the end of your row is coming around, okay? So we're gonna cast on, go behind that first black, in front, behind, and in front, all the way around. Now the reason why I chose to add this video to do two things in this one video is because this is a very basic beanie. I'm not doing anything special with it, and so it won't take up much room on my on my video time, okay? Before we get to the end, we're going to turn our row counter to 0 and continue on. Make sure when you're casting on that you use just a nice even tension. Don't pull it tight. Don't hold it tight as you're casting on, or you're gonna have a very hard time getting this first row to knit, okay? So nice and loose, or even tension, not loose, but not tight, okay? And then we're just going to knit. Now I go quite slow this first row. Make sure everything catches. And then I pull this tail down just to make it a little bit easier there. And I'm gonna keep knitting, friends, until I get to 120 rows. That's it. Because this yarn changes color, it's beautiful. It'll be beautiful all on its own. Again, I was gonna add this as a brim, and if I was to do that again, if you want to do that, add a second color, just so you have a solid color for a brim. Do 45, then 30 of your next color, and then 45 of this color, okay? And that will give you a nice brim, okay? But because I'm not doing that, I am going to straight knit here, 120 rows. And if you're new to knitting, see me back at around row 55 or 60, and I'll show you what to do when it starts to hit the table. If you're not new, then just keep going until you get 120 rows, and I'll see you back. I am popping on to show you what I'm doing here. My 46 needle machine does not like this yarn as much as my 22 needle does. And so it's given me some trouble. So I am going to show you what I'm doing. Okay, I put my tensioner in. I put it through that bigger loop there on the yarn feeder and into the smallest tension because I'm not going to have a free hand to hold it. And then I'm just going to go around like this and help pull those loops down over the two red teeth as I go around. And yes, it takes longer, but you know what? It's worth it because this yarn is so beautiful. Now you can try using, you know, a dryer sheet if you like, or some of the age-old tricks that there are. But I am going to just continue doing it this way. I'm not putting hardly any pressure on there. Okay, I'm just making sure that those loops go down over the red teeth. And this is how you do it when you have difficult yarn. And I'm sorry that this is difficult because in my yarn review that I did, I used my Addi 22 needle machine and it went through there like almost like butter. So I'm not sure why it's given me some tough time right now, but I thought I'd pop on and show you. Maybe you won't have the same problem. And I'm almost at the end of the ball. I will get about 35 rows of this. So doing the scarf and the pom-poms on the scarf and the embellishment with the face and stuff, and 35 rows of the hat is what one ball will do, okay? So keep going. I just thought I'd pop on and show you what I had to do. Now, because I have it in this heavier tension, because then generally I put a little bit of tension between my fingers, and that the lightest tension there just does that work for me. So this is what I'm going to do all 124 rows, and I don't mind because it's a beautiful yarn. So we'll see you when I get to row 60 or whenever it starts to touch my table. I am on row 55, and you'll see how it's touching the table there. If I keep going, it's going to put slack on my project here, and then we risk, if there's too much slack at the top here, we risk the loop falling off these little red teeth and dropping a row. Okay, so what we're going to do, let me just angle my camera. So what we're going to do is we are going to pick it up from the base and we are going to roll it into a little donut and see all the beautiful colors. Okay, just like that. And as you keep going, every 20 rows or so, you're going to keep rolling it, or 15, however many you want. And you're going to keep rolling it, and your donut will get bigger and bigger, but your tension will remain even on the rim of the barrel and help with the tension of your stitches. So keep going, my friends. I will see you back at row 120. I am done. So this is the end of row 120. I've got my last white, my first black lined up with my yarn feeder. I'm going to take that tensioner off. I'm going to open the yarn feeder, take my yarn out. I cut off a long tail already. Okay, pop that in the middle and we're going to cast off. So let's turn our machine handle, take off number 1, that first black, take off that next one. As soon as the stitches, the needles drop down where you can't see them, then these are called live stitches. So they could easily fall off those red teeth. So you want to be very careful, okay? Go ahead, put your finger over the next one if you want to be sure and prevent it from falling off those red teeth and dropping a stitch. If you've got your tension right and you're used to doing this, then there's no need to do that. Okay, so you're going to go around and you're going to keep taking off every stitch just like so. Then you are going to make a pom-pom with this Clover pom-pom maker, okay? Just like we did for the scarf. Make one of these, and then I will see you back. These colors are absolutely gorgeous. You know what? Worth taking the extra time, even though I had to use my one hand to help the loops down over the red teeth, which makes it take a little bit more time. It still only took me, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to make this beanie. So, I mean, we can spare that kind of time if we're going to get something this beautiful, right? So, there you go, friends. Take it off, and I'll see you back. This is where the magic happens, my friends. We're going to unroll this gorgeous donut, making sure the right side is out. Look at that. Just love it. We're going to stretch it widthwise and also lengthwise, just to soften it up. Get those rows all lined up and absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. This yarn is like to die for. It's beautiful. Now that we have it stretched out, we are going to take one end, doesn't matter which end, and we are going to pull to close. Okay, so pull that yarn end to close and always smooth this edge out, okay? Otherwise it gets all crinkled and you're not going to have as nice of a look. So you have to take the time to do that. Smooth it all out. Just like that. I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter. Doesn't need to be so long. Getting in my way. Going to put this on my needle. Oh, you guys, I went and bought some more wool needles. Finally found them. I've been looking for them for months. I get them in Walmart. And I love the smallest one for doing this. I love these metal ones too, but I do love the small wool needles that I get in Walmart. So I happened to find them. And I was sewing and I dropped my little one. Wouldn't you know it, day 2 of having it, dropped it down the couch somewhere. We pulled that couch apart like it was worth $1 million for that little needle. Do you think we found it? You're right. No, we did not find it. So I'm going to keep looking because it's there somewhere. It doesn't want to be found, but it is there somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to go around this and reinforce it. And pull. Go around twice because it's a child's beanie and you want to make sure it does not come apart. Okay, so give it that little extra attention and reinforce it around that top row of stitches 2 times. Just like that, okay? Then pull it tight, tie a knot. Then you're going to slip your hand in the other end and up to the top. Take that needle, put it in the center hole there. Hold the tip of it with your hand on the inside and pinch this until it comes all the way through. And then pinch the top here because you're going to bring it through. you're going to bring it through to this other end. I already know that whatever is on the inside here is going to be my outside because I love that bright yellow, okay? But you get to choose, and you're going to do the same thing with this one, okay? So you're going to pull it tight, unfolding this as you go just to make it so much more beautiful. Make sure this end stays out, and you're going to reinforce this all along twice, 2 or 3 times, however many times you want. And when you're done that, I'll see you back because I have to run over to my neighbor's. She's on holidays and I need to go let her dogs out. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'm going to finish this, and then I'll see you back. Mission accomplished. I've got it tight around there. Now I'm going to bring this inside one. I'll take my needle off. It's easier to work with. I'm going to bring this inside one up close to the outside one. Then we're going to take these 2 strands and we're going to tie them so that those 2 snug up real nice and close to each other. Okay, I like to tie it 3 times, just like that. Okay, then I'm going to cut this off so it's a little bit easier to work with. Put it back on my needle, except for I'm going to take my wool needle. I'm going to slip that on there, and I'm going to hide it in between the 2 layers. I need the little one. Okay, I am going to find that thing. Okay, pull it out like that, cut it off, and there you have it. Okay, but now we have to decide which way we want it to be. Do we want it to be this way and fold it up? So very pretty. Or do we want to take it to the other side and fold it up? That is my choice because this is so beautiful with this, isn't it? Okay, so now all I got to do is put my pom-pom on. So I'm going to go make that, and then I'll see you right back and we'll finish this project. All right, so I'm finished and I'm loving this pom-pom. You know, as I was making it, I was just using the yarn as it was coming off the ball, and it was predominantly this color and then moved into this color. And I thought that would be too dark if I just left it at those 2. So I reached into the ball and I grabbed some orange, and I did a little bit of orange in there too. And it just brightens it up a little bit. Just really, really makes it match that hat. Just so gorgeous by picking up on all the color, light and dark colors. And so I absolutely love it. So I just used the 2 yarn ends that I had from my pom-pom, and I tied them into the beanie, one with a right into the center hole there, and the other just off to the side a little bit so that when I got them on the inside, I could tie them really tight and they weren't going to go anywhere. Okay, so there we have it. That is our pom-pom. I just love it. Okay, so as always, it was a pleasure spending time with you. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'd love to see your creations. So when you make yourself a set for a gift or for that special child in your life, please post it in my Facebook group, Koala Knits and Knacks. And also, I do encourage you to post it in other groups too so that we can get my patterns circulated further. So thank you for helping me in that matter. Please hit that like button because that helps YouTube circulate my patterns as well, and subscribe if you haven't done so. So my friends, take care, have a most wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.